Hello, I'm Kim Castellanos, Marin Women Hall of Fame honoree from the class of 2013. It is my pleasure to sit down with this year's class of Marin Women's Hall of Fame inductees to learn about their lives, careers, and journey that led them to be honored in this way. Since 1987, the Hall of Fame has inducted over 160 women of distinction, women who have made immense contributions to the county of Marin and its residents, as well as the world beyond. Honorees have distinguished themselves in many fields: education, science, business, philanthropy, the arts, politics, law, philosophy, and religion. Each honoree has been a force for positive change in our community. Today it is my pleasure to introduce Judy Arnold, who is being honored in 2025 for her pioneering work for public affairs. Hello, Judy. It's so good to see you.
Nice being here.
Happy holidays.
Thank
Congratulations.
You. Thank you.
I know you, but maybe the rest of the audience doesn't know you. So could you please start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Well, I'm Judy Arnold, and I served on the Nevada City Council for 2 years and 15 years as a county supervisor, and retired in 2022. I was born and grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. I don't know why Missouri copied us, but anyway, I grew up as a Midwesterner, but have lived in this county for almost, a long time. Anyway, my father was an attorney and also worked on political issues. My mother was an RN and who convinced TWA Airlines to bring in women hostesses in the flights, and she became the first airline hostess. And her uniform is on display in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum right now.
So fascinating.
I know, and so I just wanted to bring that up because, these were my parents, and I learned about hard work, and so that was good.
So let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Who were some of the people in your life who inspired you?
Perfect.
Right?
Here we go. Okay, so from 1998 to 2004, I worked for the legendary California State Senator and President Pro Tem John Burton. He recruited me to be on his staff in the county, and I worked with Marin and Sonoma. And John was amazing, and I could.
Your pal.
Yes, he is, and I could tell you funny stories, but then I'd have to, not.
Then we'd have to come find you.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But I see him now as a mentor for me, and I worked for him for eight years. And when discussing, when I'd get calls from people saying, here's a problem, I will call up Sacramento and say, what do you think? And the first thing that John Burton would say is, what's good for the poor? And that stuck with me when I became
Public
exactly.
Yes.
And so I always remember that. So after I did that, I went to Goucher for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And connected with two friends who then, when they got out of school, they helped John Kennedy in his work. Wow. When he was running to be senator, and when he got to be the senator, they worked for him in the White House, and I knew them because I went to school with them. So when I was ready to go to work, I called them and say, "Is there anything going on in DC?" And she said, "Yeah, come back here." And so I was in Kansas then.
Right.
So I went back. And they invited me to go to work for the Peace Corps. because John Kennedy, that was his thing, and his son-in-law. I mean, no, his not his son-in-law.
Some colleague.
Well, some colleague was came to tell me what to do, and he was kind of. And his name was, I have it down here and I'll see it in a minute. But anyway, so this was the new plan. And so I went back there. I worked for Sergeant Shriver, and so loved it. And one day when I was working, John Kennedy, the senator, walked by and thanked me for what I was doing.
Outstanding.
And so, and he was, he was so young. He was had so many different great ideas. And I will just end by saying he was very handsome too. So that's my third thing.
That's okay.
And then I guess the fourth thing was that when we moved to Marin County, I joined the League of Women Voters, and which was an amazing opportunity to really find out local government. Mm-hmm. And so I oversaw finding local issues that the League could endorse. And I found a new black-owned and commuter bus company that could bring people from Marin, because of all the hills.
Right.
This buses could go up there, bring people down, then to take a big bus to go to where they were going to, want to work. And so they met with the representatives that were going to hire them, that were looking for the buses. And when they got there and did it, they were rejected, and they were told by this company that they wouldn't hire a black-owned company. And so I'm not the kind that is going to take no for an answer.
It's a challenge.
I went with the head of the bus company, who was black, and we went to D.C. and we met with President Nixon's staff, and he happened to be black. And so we told him, here's what just happened in California.
In progressive California.
Exactly. And so he listened, and he said, I'll look into this. And so 3 days later, we got a message that came through that said, from the Nixon administration, that said that if that agency did not hire the new bus company, there would be no more funding from the federal government. And so those
get it where it hurts.
So anyway, those are the people that really have meant something, where I wanted to go do the same thing.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Outstanding.
Okay.
Can you share with us an important learning in your life? That sounds like one of them, right?
Yeah.
And that you believe has been the key to your success throughout the years.
Well, let's see. There was, two things that really came through. Initially, I was against the train, the SMART train, and then and it was because the freight went right through Novato, and there was no connection within a bus that was going to, a SMART train.
Right.
So anyway, but finally, I looked at this, and there were a lot of people in Nevada that wanted that train. And so I felt that I should help bring it on. And so I was the with the SMART train, the chair. She was the president of SMART, and I was the vice chair. And she was from Sonoma, and I'm from Marin. That's how that worked. Okay, so she called me one day, the woman from there who was great, and she said, I don't know how to run a trade. What's going on? And so I said, hang up, and I'm going to make a phone call. And so I walked down the street, down the hall, to Public Works, and the head of Public Works was Farhad Mansourian.
Yes, yes.
And I walked in and I said, would you come for 6 months and see what's happening with this train? And he said yes. And so he did, and to make a long story short, he said, there was so many too much politics in there, and he said, all you have to do is just go in and build a train, and that's what we're going to do.
It seems so simple, right?
And so that's what happened, and that's how we brought it in, and Farhad became the head of SMART, and together we brought in the train.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that.
Yes.
So, as you think about your career in public service, what's been the most rewarding aspects of public service for you? And I don't think you have this question. So if it's not going to work out for you, that's okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So what has been the most rewarding aspects of public service?
Well, it has been the fact that, first of all, for a woman to be in a man's world, and this was a big one, it was wonderful. And I mean, when I first started to work after I had been through school, I worked there where if a woman walked down a hall, men would punch her.
Pinch the butt.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so that's how I saw that started. And then now I was a supervisor and in charge, and it was amazing. And so I think that the fact that that I was able to work to bring in and to the housing. I for years was in charge, or was wanted to see
affordable
housing, and no one in Marin was that. And so I worked for that when I was a supervisor. And usually every 8 years the state comes in and says, here at Marin, all the counties, here's what you have to do. And Marin never did it. They never got there.
Never complied.
No.
Yeah.
And so this time, just now, the one that we're in, the 8th, the state has said to this county and all the counties, here's what you're going to do in 8 years, and if you don't, here's what's going to happen. And it's scary what's going to happen. And I worked a lot with Senator with Senator Mike McGuire, who was now the pro tem, and we worked on this. And so what it came to me was that I went to the Board of Supervisors because we had to approve what they wanted us to do. And so my last part at the board, I said to the supervisors, I believe. Well, first of all, the thing that came into my mind is this is funny because this part of people for this, that has been there. These are the kids that grew up in Marin, and they would love to come live here, and they couldn't afford $1 million for a little college.
Right.
Cottage.
Right, yeah, little house.
And so anyway, when I thought of that, then I see Mike McGuire, who's like 40, and these are the kids that So anyway, that is what made. These guys are going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, what I did was on my last board meeting, I just said, I believe that we must complete this housing element, even if it hurts, because it's the right thing to do. And we are the ones that are being called on now. And we took a vote, and this Board of Supervisors voted 5-0 to.
Perfect.
I know.
Good influence.
That was important.
Yes. So Judy, what advice would you give to aspiring young women or women who are looking to get into public service? What give us all of your words of wisdom.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think we've come a long way. And I think my first job in the county was being when Gary Giacomini was running for office. I ran his campaign, and then when he won, he said, "Look, I've looked at the places that I have to go, because it's all West Marin plus," and he said, "And I've had help all the way." He said, "I'm going to have I want to bring in someone to help me," and it was me. And so then the county administrator came in and said, "Okay," because none of the other supervisors had anyone helping.
Yeah.
And so he came in and said, "So we're gonna say that you're
they call them
secretary."
aides. Oh.
And I said, "No." I said, "That's an insult to those secretaries. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to be an aide." And so that's where it started. And now the county supervisors each have 2 aides. And I feel like I was the beginning of that.
Outstanding.
And a lot of the aides are women. And so that was something that was really good, and I felt good about. And I think that to bring women, and I think I know that it's good to say, and it's not good, and I'm looking at it from girls being pinched to today. I think we've come a long way. I know what the problems are, and I know that we have to be vigilant. But I think that the more we do, I've had so many young women come up to me and just say, "I saw what you did when you did brought in the Marin dial-a-ride. I served on the Golden Gate Bridge." All of those things came together, and these young women were watching, which I didn't, which was great. And so I've met with a lot of them and gone into. So I think that's something that I think is important, and that we can't. But then I look at what my daughter can do. None of her friends would ever not stand up and make a comment that a man had said another thing. And it was hard for me at the very beginning. They just do it in a minute. And then my granddaughters are even more, so it really is going well, but this is Marin. So there are a lot of other places that they need to get with it.
Outstanding. So just do it is what I hear you say. Just do it.
That's exactly right. That's what my men. Yeah.
You've been a Marin resident for a long time.
Oh.
You've been very active in Nevada, where I live, and Marin
Yes.
community. What is your vision or hope for the county moving forward?
Well, I think that they need to understand that being beautiful and being as a county and lots of green and is not going to get us there. and they're going to have to understand how important it is to bring in housing, and I think that's so important. And because look at the drive that people have to come to work here. And I just think, and then I also think that to help women, and one thing that really came to me was when I was running for office, I had about 10 meetings with people, and all of these coffees that they put on, every woman at every one of those said, we want healthy food at Marin in Nevada. And so when I was elected for the first time to the council, city council, I decided that I'm going to do that with them. And so we got 6 women and that said, I'm going to help. And they got together and they put out messages and that went to Whole Foods and saying, here we are and here's what we want. And I went out to get the mail one day, and there was a letter from Whole Foods, the president, and he said, we've never been courted like we have at Nevada, and we're coming.
Wow.
And then we had already gone to who's the other one? Trader Joe's. And Trader Joe's had already said no, that we couldn't do it this year. Well, when they saw that, they called back and said, we're coming. And the fact is, it was you needed help from the counties that as far as knowing how to do it, but it was the women that did it themselves, and that was, the day of that opening was just
joyous,
the best.
Joyous.
Yes.
So, what would you say is your proudest moment? Is that your proudest moment? Is the housing your proudest moment? What's your proudest moment in all of your years of service, if you had one?
Oh gosh, there's so many.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah, I mean, all right. Let me just think. Well, I think my proudest time was when I ran for office, and
which office?
Both. The
council.
Two councils. I mean, 2 years, and then the
county.
The county. And being able then from the county to see what it's like to be in the Senate and to be and to make friends with them, so that a lot of people don't understand how important it is to be political. and I've learned that, and it just kind of comes naturally to me. I know if it was because of my mother going to TWA, I'm not sure what it was. So I think that really the fact that if there's a problem, and there are several that I talked about today, that I could go in and say, here's the way to do it. And that really makes me proud. And you know, when I left, you know, because it was time because of the family, but I miss that. I miss that. It's great.
Influential. You are an influence, sister. You are definitely an influencer. Lots of community impact. As you reflect on your career and your life, if you had to do it anything over again, is there anything you would do different?
I would have gotten in faster. You know, you have family, but and so that comes first, especially when they're little. But I would have put my hat in earlier, because it's great.
Sounds like you had a lot of fun.
I did.
Oh, that's fun. What are some of the other things that you would like to share with our audience?
I want to thank Supervisor Cynthia Murray, who was approached me one day to see if I would like to run, because she wasn't going to run for Board of Supervisors, and she'd like to put me there. And I will forever love Cynthia, because that's how I got there. Because if she could have stayed and been there forever. And so I want to, you know, that was such a wonderful thing to do, is to look ahead, to say, you know, I have to leave, but now I want someone here. I mean, there's countless things that I can remember. I mean, you know, I started the Marin Dial-A-Ride program.
Which is fantastic.
Providing, the Golden Gate Bridge. I was on there for 11 years, and it just is a wonderful, I mean, to see what you can do, and that was exciting. And then I established, along with another supervisor, who's not
with us.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And we were together to do this. We did the Marin Economic Forum. The county is so worried about making, you know, everything is beautiful, and here's what we do, and you said, but
where's the money?
You need businesses, and so to have brought on that, and it's, you know, still there, and it's good. That was, you know, that's good. So it's just all of this combined. It's a wonderful county. There are things that need to be changed, but the fact that I could have a part of that, and got to see, first of all, young girls that want to copy, and then to just see friends that you've known forever, and they're still there. It's just, you know, it's a great county, and a lot of other counties, a lot of other towns, and all over this this
state.
Well, beyond. People think we're crazy, you know, but
let them. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's let them.
We're so good. Yeah. And so anyway, yeah.
Well, you've done so much. So I want to thank you, Judy Arnold, for sharing stories from your incredible life with us. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. The Marin Women's Hall of Fame is a program of YWCA Golden Gate, Silicon Valley. If you would like to learn more about the Hall of Fame and our honorees, please visit us at www.yourywca.org.